when I was about 19 or 20, there was, I started going to, I left school with no qualifications at all. Just kind of dropped out. I had no confidence in myself or being let out. I slipped through the system. So I was unemployed, but I was always writing. I was always writing stories at the time, but not poetry. I hadn't really been exposed to poetry. But I was writing lots of stories, and then there was Leeds University had an annex in Middlesbrough on Harrow Road, and they ran a kind of program of outreach, creative writing workshops in libraries across Teesside. And one of them was at Berwick Girls Library, and my parents still live close to that. So I went to that, and that's where I met Trev Teasdale, and because he was tutoring it, and and I met Val McGee and various other people at that point, and I kind of got involved in the literary activities that sprang out of that. There was the Write Around Festival at that time, so I got involved in that, in being a member of the kind of organising committee. And there was a magazine that was produced called Outlet that Trev Teasdale and a few others used to run, and so I started to write for that as well and help in editing it. And Trev said that my work was good and that I should do something else with it rather than, I was chipping Darbo off bricks for a living at that point on a building site. And he said I should go and do a degree. And I thought, well, I've got no qualifications, I can't do a degree. And he said, well, try anyway, make some applications. So I applied to Crewe and Alsager College of Higher Education, because there wasn't many places at that time doing creative writing. So, but I applied, and they offered me a place, and so I moved down to Crewe and did my BA in creative arts. But because it was creative arts rather than just creative writing, I specialised in creative writing, but you also looked at integrated arts theory and practice. So I was working alongside dancers and dramatists and filmmakers and visual artists and all sorts. It was like the kids from Fame, basically. It was brilliant. And it totally changed my conception of art and its usefulness, but also transformed me completely, because I suddenly realised I wasn't as stupid as I'd led to believe. And it was my schooling and lack of opportunities that had made me think that I was stupid. So when I finished that degree, I came back to Middlesbrough, and again, I started to teach for Leeds University for a while, and got involved in Paranoia Press and the Write Around Festival and all sorts of exciting things that were going on at the time. Then Leeds University drew back all their outreach work, and there was a massive gap in the area because there was no one running creative writing workshops. So I approached Teesside University and I said, I'll write you some modules as part of the English degree. And they were a bit wary about it for a while, because creative writing wasn't seen in those days as a legitimate mode of academic study. So they were eventually persuaded to let me do some summer school modules, and they proved really popular. So we started to do some summer school modules, and gradually it was recognised as a valid form of educational practice. And from that, they integrated, well, first they established the master's degree, and then, well, me and Andy were actually writers in residence for a year at the university, and that's when we set up, and with Chris Thurgodos, the skeleton for the master's degree, and we piloted that and ran it for a few years, and then they started introducing creative writing into the undergraduate degree strands as well. but all that was part-time, and in the meantime we were still publishing books and working out in the community in schools. But that was really valuable because it allowed the bridge between the academic study and various community groups, and lots of people that we worked with out in the community then came into the university who would never have done so because of various ideas about exclusion and inclusion, which I totally get because that's what my experience was as well.